Okay, well, I'm gonna sort of have to wing this then. So what you can't see, and I for some reason can't actually move through my slides right now. Um, so we'll go without. Okay, so today's theme is patience, and you guys know that I oftentimes like to sort of pick the themes for these sessions based on what's going on in my life, right? So there's this kind of this endless stream of opportunity given my humanity and my struggles, and I found myself in a difficult conversation. And by definition, I think, difficult conversations, they're loaded, they're charged, and sometimes it's not even the conversation that's being had is not even so much about the thing that just happened, but it might be about some kind of history that's now being dragged into this present moment. And I'm sure you've all experienced that sense of frustration, right? Just the frustration that comes from not being heard or being told that you did this or that, and then you're sitting there saying, "No, that's not what I meant, or not what I did," and the whole thing that hence the difficult conversation becomes kind of messy. And so there's a quote here that I want to use: "When we are patient, we create space for understanding and connection, allowing us to navigate difficult conversations with grace." And I like that term grace, because there's something not from a religious standpoint so much as just this, this sense of there's a bigger picture uh, going on where both parties are walking away feeling like something positive happened rather than feeling more frustrations. And so the power of patience in those situations gives us a, a few things that can really help us out. First and foremost, having some degree of patience allows us to find what I would call the favorable time or conditions to have the difficult conversation, right? Just because I'm feeling the impulse to express myself, there's something about taking a deep breath and just saying, "Well, wait a second, let me be patient here. Maybe this is not the right time because the other person's tired. You're sort of in between things, and it may require a more formal space and sit down." And then when we decide to have that conversation, patience also allows us to stay grounded and infuses some sense of calm. It fosters empathy and curiosity and compassion for the other person while they're speaking. Our ability to be patient and truly let them express themselves, and then maybe get curious and ask some follow-up questions, meaning keeping the energy and focus on what they're saying, of course, engenders more connection. It also allows us to connect with our own emotions and thoughts and triggers, right? So rather than just blurting it out and taking a deep breath, being patient, listening and getting clear on, oh, I'm starting to get the hang of why this is so difficult for me or why this is activating me. It really prevents us from doing or saying things that may cause irreparable harm. I think we've all done that, and then afterwards you're sitting there going, "Oh, maybe had I been more patient and been able to keep my mouth shut, maybe that would have been better." And then just overall, it allows for more thoughtful and measured responses. So I thought for the time that we have left, let's do a mini meditation. We'll start by closing your eyes. Take a couple deep, intentional breaths so that we can arrive. So in through the nose, long exhale through the mouth. Another long inhale through the nose. Again, a long exhale. Now just let your body breathe on its own and see if you can bring to mind a memory or a situation in which the difficult conversation didn't go well. Meaning maybe you felt frustrated, maybe you even felt angry, you didn't feel seen or heard. Clearly, the other person was sharing those same experiences. And in some ways, you're just kind of talking at each other or past each other. And notice the impact that has So in this memory, notice what it feels like to be in your body when you're in that situation where the conversation is difficult and the connection is just not happening. Really register the cost that you and the other party are paying for. Now imagine yourself, you're doing this unilaterally, right? We can't control what other people do, but you're going back in this memory and you're going to infuse a situation and you're going to bring the gift of patience to this conversation. For me, it usually involves making sure I'm feeling grounded in the chair or on the floor, wherever this is taking place, connecting with my breath. It's a great time to do a mini body scan. Just really take in, okay, I'm right here, right now. Maybe the other person is already talking, but you're just slowing things down and setting the intention to be more patient. And one of the patience blockers, as I would call it, is a fear I think that we all have that that we won't be seen, or that the conversation will move so quickly and there won't be time and space for us to be seen or to be received or have things reflected back to us. And so we then engage in this rapid fire tit for tat. But right now we're going to slow things down and notice as you're connecting with this sense of patience, see if you can really pay attention to what the other person is saying. This empathy, patience allows for curiosity. You might notice certain thoughts or ideas bouncing around your brain. I call those the retorts, the yeah, but, and we want to jump in and just slowing things down and being patient. Breathing is so important in this situation. So really staying connected with your breath and grounded is what allows us to bring patience to this exchange. And then noticing the swirl of emotions and thoughts bouncing around your brain, things that you want to contradict or disagree or get in sideways. And again, we're just breathing, being patient. And then imagine yourself, if there's a pause in what the other person is saying, imagine now bringing that patience to bear by taking a moment to simply reflect back what you heard them say. And you don't have to get it all right, but the intention is to activate this patience and resist the temptation to blurt out your thoughts or your emotions, but rather slow down, say, what I heard you say, maybe reflecting that back as best as you can, and then checking, did I get that? There are more? That's superpower, and it requires a tremendous amount of skill and patience to be able to just slow things down and do that. And maybe the other person has more to say. And again, staying with patience, we're just listening intently. We're trying to feel into what's going on for them. We don't need to agree with whatever they're saying, but we're really just dropping into their experience with patience and allowing them to express, and then reflecting back again. Here's what I heard you say. Usually, what happens is at some point, the other person starts to run out of things to say. They may repeat themselves a few times, or again, imagining yourself in this conflict situation you were in, and imagining bringing this patience to the conversation. How at some point they may start feeling like they've been heard, or they don't need to repeat themselves for the umpteenth time. And patience also means being able to express ourselves. So checking in and saying, you know, if you're complete with what you had to express right now, you'd be willing to hear me out. And then we bring patience to the expression. So again, we slow it down. We make sure we're connected to being kind. We aren't judging or insulting, but we're just expressing what's up for us. And patience also means not putting all seven things into one long monologue, but rather doing one at a time and then asking for some kind of reflection back. And then maybe moving on to the second point. This is, of course, easier said than done. And it's especially challenging to do this over a long period of time. It's almost like patience is sort of a finite resource that can run out at some point. And even being patient with ourselves and others to realize that maybe this is as far as we're going to get in this conversation right now. So let's pause. Let's come back to this. Let's take a deep breath in, so breathing into that sense of patience, filling your body up, and then slow exhale, letting go of any frustrations or anxiety, just trusting that with patience, there'll be space and time. Another deep breath in, slow exhale, and allowing your body to breathe on its own, opening your eyes. Sorry, I'm a little bit over. It's 12:17. I wish I could have had a little more time to do this. But anyway, hoping this is very alive for me today. And I'm hoping that it is helpful for you, either retrospectively, maybe sort of a do-over of a difficult conversation, or if something's coming up, to go into that conversation with this really the intention of practicing patience. Hope that was helpful. See you tomorrow for some gratitude, and I'll stick around for a few more if anyone wants to hang out and chat.